Welcome, Rabbi Say, to our Monday night shiur. Today is the 21st of Sivan. When is your birthday? It's next week, yeah? Parashat Shlach. No, this week is your birthday. Shlach lecha. Send out for yourself. You gotta keep on walking. Just keep. That's your job in life. Just keep on walking. So this week's parasha. Tonight is graduation for many schools, so many of the guys are in the graduation. I went with them to Ura. I said to them, "Oh, we're gonna come to the shiur." They said, "We're gonna come." I said, "You can't come to the shiur. Graduation night, you take your family out, go eat, spend some time with the family. Shiur could wait. You can watch it on the YouTube afterwards. There's a time to give to your family. There's a time to learn. You understand? Shalom, bye. It's very important." So, say again? No, we're not editing that out. Put that in bold letters. And so tonight is our shiur is sponsored by Nishmat, my student Neria Ben Svetlana, Ruach Hashem Tenichenu B'Gan Eden, Amen. And tonight it's also the Hilula of a very big rabbi that you guys never heard of, Rabbi Masoud Abdel Haq. No, Moroccan. He passed away not long ago. He lived in Kiryat Malachi in Israel. He was a big mikubal, and he knew the secret of how to use oil to call the kings of the Shindalets, called Sarei Hashemen. And you could look, they could show you inside. You say, "I want to see what's going on right now, so and so place," and you see in the oil images like this. He knew this kind of secret. He lived not long ago. Tonight is his Hilula. He was a very big mikubal and tzaddik. Rabbi Masoud Abdel Haq. He was a big chacham. He knew the secret of the kamiot, the hashbaot hashemot, and it's a big mitzvah to And we were in the Ura. Another interesting thing, we met the great grandson of Rabbi Udaftaya over there. Rabbi Udaftaya over there.
Old.
No, young, great grandson, maybe my age. And we always speak about Rabbi Udaftaya in our shiur. Rabbi Udaftaya. You know, Rabbi Udaftaya doesn't even have one living male descendant. That's what he told me. I don't know how true it is. He doesn't even have one male descendant from it. All girls.
How does he male?
Huh? He's from the daughter's side. His grandmother was Rabbi Udaftaya's daughter. So how important it is. Some people, some tzaddikim, they mekayem mitzvah prayer. Then at one point, all the descendants become girls, or everything. The line, it stops. You understand? So how important it is to say their name in the shiur, to give them nachat ruach, to do siftotav levot bakeret. Everything it's so connecting. And we were speaking to him. Just one small thing we said from the zone. We said that Rabbi Udaftaya, he had a notebook, a diary, a personal diary. Over there, he wrote all of his dreams and everything. We don't have this book. Only the family is allowed to have it. So I asked his great-grandson, I said to him, "Could you please let me see that personal diary?" Over there, he writes how Moshe Rabbeinu looked, how David HaMelech looked. He saw them in a dream. So I said, "Could you remember something that you saw inside that diary?" And he said, "I remember one thing." He said, Moshe Rabbeinu, over there, he had blue eyes. Rabbi Udaftaya in the image, so he had blue eyes, very light skin, very light. And it says in the Torah that he covered his face. It wasn't an actual mask. It was a veil. You know how you do for the woman when she not a masveh. Masveh could be translated as a mask.
Like you tzitzit, you put tzitzit.
Yeah, exactly. Like those old tzaddikim from Morocco, they used to take their tzitzit and cover their face like this. Yeah. This was his mask.
How do you saw the color guy?
It was see-through. You know those like the veil of the kala?
Yeah.
That was his veil of Moshe Rabbeinu. So you see, we're saying chidushim here tonight. But you can't, there's no sources for these chidushim, I'm sorry. The sources is I'm telling you what he told me. I don't know. Sources. That's what he said. He saw and Rabbi Udaftaya saw. So I asked him for the diary. He said, "Oh, I'll see if I have permission to give it to you, so and so." Hashem Ya'azor. How are you? So that was something interesting that we saw that night. Now, this week's parasha, Shlach Lecha. We have a couple of interesting stuff that happened over there. We have last week's parasha, Ba'alotcha. We didn't have a chance to talk about it too much before we're going to start. Our shiur is also sponsored as usual by Israel Shimonov, Israel Ben Asher and his family. Hashem should give him and his kids bracha, v'atzlacha, his wife, Yeshua Gedolot, Parnasa, V'shefa, Yosef Chaim, Elisheva, Sarah Rivka, and all of his descendants should be tzaddikim, kedoshim, v'teorim. And also Simcha Pinchasov and his wife, Leah, may Hashem give them and their son Eliyahu and Aharon and their daughter Elisheva, bracha, v'atzlacha, yeshuot, parnasa, v'refuah, kol medemetav v'chen yashem Elohai. Amen. This week's parasha Shlach Lecha, we have something interesting. Our shiur is called the spies and the grasshoppers. Spies and grasshoppers. So first of all, we have something very interesting in this week's parasha. Hashem tells Moshe, Shlach lecha anashim, send for yourself people, vayaturu et Eretz Canaan, and they're gonna visit, they're gonna tour. They're gonna tour, vayaturu, tour, it's the same word by the way, as American and the Hebrew word, Eretz Canaan, to be a visitor. Go check it out, ish echad. First of all, Moshe Rabbeinu, we said over there, and Rashi says, it says over there by Moshe Rabbeinu, he says, Shlach lecha for yourself. I'm not telling you to sin. You want to sin? Sin. So it says over there, how could Moshe Rabbeinu want to do something that Hashem didn't want? What was the secret that Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe had a reason, right? Moshe wanted to send the spy. That's one question. We're not going to answer all the questions. Second thing, he picks how many men? Not 12. It's supposed to be 12, right? 12 Shvatim. He picks 10. Right? Kulam Anashim. We have from Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. Over there, you have the 12 spies. 12 spies, 10 of them came out Levi, and 2 of them came out, how you say straight? Romni. Primoy. 6 words in Russian for straight? Doesn't make sense. So they came over there straight. Over there, Yoshua and Caleb. First of all, the Chachamim say, the Mefarshim say, when you see that they counted them in the levels, over there was first Shevet Reuven, Shamua ben Zakur, whatever his name was. Shimon, then the third one was who? Caleb. Says the Mefarshim, Caleb wasn't the biggest tzaddik. They were listed in order of their sitkut, in order of their chashivut, in order of their righteousness. Caleb was number 3 on the list, but we see, even though Reuven's spy from his shevet was the first, he came out bad. Caleb came out good. He was only 3rd on the list. Then it says number 4 and number 5. Only number 5 was who? Hoshea bin Nun.
Why did they call him Hoshea?
Right. So we see first of all which parasha we already see Yoshua. Which parasha? He's already mentioned in the Torah where parashat not shlach but Vayishlach, where we fight Amalek. Hashem tells Yoshua, send Yoshua to fight Amalek. Hashem tells Moshe, and over there, what does he call him? Hoshea or Yoshua? Yoshua, he calls him over there. And also last week's parasha in Ba'alotcha, remember Eldad and Medad? It says over there, we were talking about this actually in the Seudah in the last Shabbat, and when we were over there, it says over there, Eldad and Medad were 2, they had the prophecy. What were they prophesying? There's 2 different versions of the prophecy in the Gemara. One version says Moshe is gonna die and Yoshua is gonna take the Jews into Eretz Yisrael. Second version of the prophecy was what? Gogu Magog. It is gonna be a Gogu Magog, there's gonna be a last war, and before this war happens, just like 80% of the Jews didn't survive, so too in that, also 80% of the Jews are not going to survive. Only 20%, the tzaddikim, kedoshim, the teorim, the ones that want to be close to Hashem, the ones that want to accept the tshuva, accept the ola mitzvot, accept the ola mishpacha, accept the ola mitzvot, the avodat Hashem. When they heard that, the people, Yoshua said to Moshe, you know what kalem means? Let me hang them. How? Because why? Moshe was a king. It's Mored b'malchut. He's Mored b'malchut. If he's mored b'malchut, if he's rebellious against the king, you could kill him. So Yehoshua tells Moshe, let me kill them. So what does the Mefarshim say? Moshe says to Yehoshua, Hamekane atali, you're jealous for me. From here we know Moshe was a very big anav. He was very humble. He wasn't caring about his own stature, what people think of him. If Hashem tells him to do something, he does it. If not, then no. Whatever happened was, the Torah calls Yehoshua, but yet we know from this week's parasha that really his name was what? Hoshea.
And they only mentioned it once.
And they only named it once. And then it says over here, Veikra Moshe leHoshea bin Nun Yehoshua. Moshe adds the letter Yud. First of all, two questions. Where did this Yud come from? And second, why is he the only one called Bin? It's Ben. Right? Moshe ben Amram. Everybody Ben. Shamua ben Zaid. Nachshon ben Aminadab. You don't say, when you go up to the Torah, Bin, with a chirik, you say Ben. Where did whatever happened to these two dots? Whatever happened to them? Right? I saw a crazy pshat from the Ari Kadosh. I'm going to share it with you guys today. We all know what the Midrash says, that Sarai Imeinu, her original name was Sarai. So Hashem took the Yud of Sarai and he gave it to Yehoshua. So Yehoshua had a zchut, he had the name of Sarai. But first of all, how did Sarah get the hay? How did she get a hay? We went from Sarai to what? Sarah. You gave him the hay, the Yud. So where did he get the hay? Where did she get the hay?
From Yeshua?
Second of all, how from here? His name was Hoshea. His name was Hoshea, not Hoshea. It doesn't make sense. Number one. Number two, whatever happened to the two dots over here? How did it get to Bin Nun? These two dots were seemingly erased, and under the Yud is how many dots? 2 dots. These 2 dots came from the Bin, from the Ben. Because a Ben is Segol, right? 1, 2, 3. Hashem took these 2 dots and put it under the Yud from Ben to Bin. And this is Yeh. Under the letter Yud, there's 2 dots. That's how it became Bin Nun, says the Ari. Kasha is, first of all, why did he need to take the Nikudot from here? How come he didn't take the Nikudot from Sarah? He already took the Yud. So first of all, let me finish the Medrash. The Medrash then goes to Hashem, Yud, the letter Yud goes up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says the Medrash, and says, Hashem, how could you take me from this tzadeket, from this tzidkanit, and put me into a soul later on in the generation? Well, what's wrong with Yehoshua? How come the letter Yud was complaining to Hashem? He's going to a prayer. I think the letter Yehoshua was a good guy, no? Wasn't he the Yesod? Fights Amalek, does whatever he needs to do, destroys Yericho. What's the problem of going to Yehoshua? What's the problem with the letter Yud? Why doesn't the Yud want to go to Yehoshua bin Nun? He went from Sarah. One answer is because every generation, the Gemara says, Mor Ukva, and Masechet Chuyin, Mor Ukva. He said, my father used to wait a whole day between cheese and meat. When you eat cheese, do you eat meat right after? You wash it. What do you know? You wash your mouth, and that's it. One hour. Nobody waits 1 hour. They eat the cheese, they wash their mouth, and they Laila Tov. Some people wait half an hour. We say half an hour. Meat and milk, how much we wait? 6 hours we wait. 6 hours. Not our cheese. We're talking about Swiss cheese that's fermented and made together for months. Nobody here eats that kind of cheese. Trust me, the cheese in the stores is not that kind of cheese. Or else you wouldn't have cheese. Trust me, it wouldn't be $5.99. It would be the prices would be very high. That's very expensive cheese. Our cheese is not like that. But yeah, the Ben Ish Chai brings down from the poskim, if you have cheese that aged certain amount of time, you should wait certain amount of hours. But still, we all know we have milk. Let's put cheese on the side. Regular milk. We don't wait. We wash our mouth. We eat meat right after. But meat, we wait 6 hours, as it said in the Gemara. Mor Ukva said, I'm like vinegar in front of my father. My father was wine. He would wait between dairy and meat. I just wait between meat and dairy like everybody else. And he would wait the whole day. I only wait 6 hours. From here we get the halakha that 6 hours. There was another, the Rama brings down, there were other Amoraim. They used to say they wouldn't even wait 6 hours between meat and milk. What would they do? As long as they clean the table, it's a new Seudah, they would eat between meat and milk. We don't paskin like that. We paskin, as the Shulchan Aruch writes, 6 hours. But what do we see? What's not my point? I'm not here to paskin halacha right now. Ask your local rabbi for the halacha. What do we see from here? That the generations compared to their fathers were what? They compared themselves vinegar to wine. Angels to men. Monkeys to humans. So we could answer a very easy answer. The Yud goes up to the Kadosh Baruch Hu and says, you're comparing Yehoshua to Sarai. How many years is between Sarai in this case, to Yehoshua? You have a good 300-400 years over there. And not 400? Yeah, 400 years, exactly. From Brit Ben Abetzarim till Yitziat Mitzrayim. 430, that was from Brit Ben Abetzarim. From the birth of Yitzhak was 400 years. So we have almost half a millennium over there. Obviously, Yehoshua compared to Sarah is what? Vinegar to wine. But another interesting thing, they say Adam HaRishon, he sits in the gate of Gan Eden. Every tzaddik that passes the Zohar says to Adam HaRishon, how could you have done the Avirah of eating from the Eitz Hadat? How could you? Well, it was just, you just had to wait another half an hour. You couldn't have waited. You know what this exactly? But you know what this Avirah reminds me of? Shaul HaMelech. Why? Remember we learned on Shabbat? All the Avirot of Shaul HaMelech was impatience. He wants it like we davening in shul. 2 more minutes, the Chazan is gonna finish Shmona Esrei. Give him 2 more minutes. Already you hear noises from the crowd. It's like it became like an animal kingdom over here. Everywhere. Like, come on, let's go. Finish this tefillah already. Impatience. Shaul HaMelech lost all the kingship because of impatience. Person, you speak to the youth today. Same thing they all. We want to be rich, work the least, and make the most. Even me, which I'm not so far from them, I look at them, in my mind I'm like, you're very far away from any truth. But he does it, and that, and he put some money in stocks, and he became a millionaire overnight. Rabbi Isai, it's not the way life works. All these cases, the Satan trying to give you, because the generations compared to the other generations, they want to do less and less and less, and make the most and most. Impatience. No patience in life. That's the problem. Less patience. Shaul HaMelech lost everything because of that. So we could say one simple answer, that the Yud didn't want to go to Yehoshua compared to, and what did Hashem say to the letter Yud? He says, I'm going to in the future make a man. His name is going to be Shlomo HaMelech. And even this Shlomo, how do you make a letter Yud? You have the Kotz Hayrion, right? You have a Kotz over here. You have the body of the Yud, right? And then you have a small Kotz over here. Small one, like this, right? I'm not making the actual Yud. The actual Yud is something more like this, right? Right? You have a small Kotz over here. Right. Kotz the Rashi and Kotz the Rabbeinu Tam. That's a letter Yud. So the Hashem said to the Yud, even 1,000 Shlomo HaMelech. What was Shlomo known for, Ariel? His what?
Wisdom.
His how do you say wisdom in Hebrew? Chokhmah. Even 1,000 of these chokhmas is not going to even come close to your kotz. Kotz is what? This little part over here. It can't even move. And like this, first of all, my question is, what is that supposed to even mean? The Yud was homeless. Why was the Yud complaining? Because it was homeless. For 400 years, he has to be without a house, number one. Number two, what kind of condolence does that mean? 1,000 Shlomos are going to come. What is Shlomo? Now we're throwing Shlomo into here. So now you have Sarah, you have Yehoshua, and you have what? Shlomo. What's the connection, the common denominator between all 3 of them? The letter Shin. And then what? The letter Hey, Shin and Hey. Then what? What's the connection? So let's start from the beginning. All the problems over here start from Adam Arishon, says the Ari HaKadosh. The Ari says something interesting. Is there a give me that one napkin over there, please. Let me erase the board. Thank you. The Ari HaKadosh says like this. Sarah got her name, the Yud, Sarai. It wasn't a coincidence. Do you know why we didn't finish that medrash? The medrash says when Adam sits at the gate of Gan Eden, when every tzaddik comes, then Adam says to him, I did one avera, habibi. You know how many you did in your life? Calm down. When did he start changing his language to Aramaic? When Sarah came. Sarah. When Sarah came, he started to speak in Swahili. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. Leave me alone. What's the connection between Sarah and Adam? Ari says something amazing. It's written inside the Ari HaKadosh, Shara Likutim. He says like this, Sarai got the letter Yud from Chava. Chava was Sarai. How? What's the connection? What was Chava's original name? Chaya. Her original name was Chaya. Ki hi aita em kol Chai. Not Chava. Her name was Chaya. Her name was Chaya. What happened? When she made the Avera, when they made the Avera, that Yud turned into the letter Vav. Like how? You have, Hashem said to Moshe, you're Anav. What's Anav? Humble. What does it say about Mashiach in the book of Zechariah? Says the Ari that he's an Ani. Poor. What does Hashem do to Moshe? He takes his letter Vav, says the Ari, and he turns it into the letter Yud. And what does it say by Mashiach? Ani verochev al chamor. And says the Ari HaKadosh that the Mashiach, you see these are three Masechtot, says the Ari. Ayin is Eruvin, Nun is Nida, and Yud is Yebamot. He's going to be an Ani that's going to be riding on these three Masechets. There's something connected to these three Masechets, and they're very hard Masechets to learn. By the way, the Ari HaKadosh died while teaching his students Masechet Yebamot, I believe it was. One of them, I think it was Yebamot. So, Chava was originally Chaya. Hashem, when she made the Avera, Hashem took her letter Yud, and he gave it to who? Sarai. Now here's something interesting. Remember Sarah couldn't have kids? Sarai couldn't have kids. What did Hashem do? He took her Yud. Yud is 10, right? Split 10 into 2. What do you have? 5 and 5. Hashem took her Yud and split it in half. Half he gave to her, and half he gave to Avraham. He gave the other half, the other hay, to Avraham Avinu. And who's Avraham? He fixed the sin of Adam. Which one? There was 3. Avodah Zarah, Shpichut, Avodah Zarah, idol worshipping, Gilui Arayot. You guys know what that is. And, adultery. And Shpichut Damim. Shpichut Damim was what? Murder. Avraham fixed one of them. Avodah Zarah. That's why when Adam saw Sarah coming to Gan Eden, he started to change his language. Who is she really? She's Chava. So when he saw his wife, he says to all the tzaddikim, I did one Avera, you do 100. But when Sarah came, she's really Chava, she says, don't play games with me. I know exactly what you did and what you didn't do and what your Avera meant to the whole world. So when he saw his wife, he started to switch languages. You understand? This is all the Ari, by the way. It's not me. It's the Ari HaKadosh. So Hashem took the hay of the Yud of Sarah that was originally inside Chala. Now, how come Hashem had to take that Yud away from Sarah? How come she couldn't have kids with that Yud? Now we're getting deep. That Yud, and this is the connection with Shlomo HaMelech, who was the smartest man. That Yud comes from what? Yud, K, Vav, K. That's the Yud of Hashem's name. Now we know in Hashem's name, 2 letters are masculine and 2 letters are feminine. Which letters are masculine? Yud and the Vav. Which letters are feminine? The 2 Hays. The 2 Hays. So when Sarah was called Sarai, she couldn't have kids because it was a masculine letter. So Hashem took that Yud, split it in half. Hey and Hey. And those 2 Hays are the 2 Hays of Shem, Hashem. And that Yud, now all these 4 letters of Hashem's name is connected to a different sphere. This Yud is Chokhmah. Chokhmah. The first Hey is Bina, Vav is Za, and Hey is Malchut. I'm over here in the Chokhmah. Why did Hashem tell the Yud 1,000 Shalomos will come and won't even touch the tip of the Yud? He didn't say it won't touch the Yud. It won't touch your tip. What was Shlomo known for? His Chokhmah. So who's connected to that letter Yud? So why did Hashem? But he is Chokhmah. So he is the letter Yud. But he said it's not going to even reach the tip of the letter Yud. What's the condolence? The Ari says you have all the 4 spherot. You're missing the 5th one. What's the 5th? What's the 5th? Keter. The Ari says, where is the Keter in Yud Kei Vav Kei? The tip of the letter Yud. The tip of the letter Yud. So Hashem said to the Yud, Shlomo is the Yud. But you know, inside of you is also the Keter. It's also the crown. And even 1,000 Chokhmas will never reach the tip of the Keter. It's true, they all have the letter Shin. But it has nothing to do with that, at least from what the Ari HaKadosh says. So why did the Yud want to, how come, now look at this. So why was the Yud so upset it went to Yehoshua then? Why was it so upset? Yehoshua needed the Yud. Why did he need the Yud? Because he was the first king to be in Eretz Yisrael. Whoever has the letter Yud in his name is kingship. By the way, especially if the first letter of your name starts with the letter Yud, you have the power of kingship in your name. The letter Yud is a very powerful letter. But only because the letter Yud, that's why Yisrael is Yaakov. Yaakov, Yisrael, he was the leader of Am Yisrael. You understand? That letter Yud is David, for example. David, where is his Yud? His Yud was hidden. Why? The letter Yud, his name is David, yeah? If you take the Vav and the Dalet, what do you get? A Yud. Dalet and Vav is 10. So his Yud was split. Why did it split? Because his kingship, eventually, it split.
Doesn't David sometimes stay spelled with the Yud?
Exactly. In Divrei Hayamim, he's on a higher level over there because it says all the greatness of his family. In Malachim, where it says where all the Mishegas happens over there, they take out the letter Yud. But when he's in Divrei Hayamim, they always put the Yud in there. Thank you for reminding me. So sometimes David is also spelled with the letter Yud over there, and it's going to be 14 plus 10 is 24. 24 books of the Torah, where David put everything together. Now over here, whatever. Now, so what happened over here? Why didn't the Yud want to go to Yehoshua? Yehoshua needed the Yud. Why did Yehoshua need the Yud? Because when he went with the Meraglim, that Hashem said, Yehoshua said Moshe said to Yehoshua, Hashem should save you from the advice of the Meraglim. Correct? But the Yud didn't want to help him. Why? What was Yehoshua? Yehoshua bin Nun. He was from Shevet Yosef, but which one? Ephraim or Menashe? Ephraim. Ephraim is which sphera? It's your Brit Milah, it's the Yesod. The Yesod is the letter Vav. What the Yud didn't want was, the Yud is very humble. It has a lot of humbleness. That's why it's just a dot. Whoever is humble doesn't like the spotlight. What's the letter Vav, the Yesod? He's the exact opposite. He always wants the spotlight in his life. He always wants to say, people, look at me, look how good I am, look what I'm doing. Not Ga'ava, but he shines in the spotlight. That's where he shines, right? That's why the letter Vav is the most written letter in the Torah. Vayomer, Vayidaber, everything, Vav. That's why it also always comes in the beginning of a word. Right? Vav, 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 and. What's the most written word? And this happened, and that happened, right? the whole book of Ruth, which says the whole story of David, every word over there, except I think for 6 words, start with the letter Vav. The whole book of Ruth. Va, 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 and. So the Yud said, you're making me into Yoshua now. Yoshua is the Yesod. Yesod is the letter Vav. I don't want to be like that. I want to be hidden. I want to be closed. I want to be humble. That's why Ashkenazim, they don't say Moshe, they say Moishe. Why Moishe? Because they put the Yud inside Moshe. That's a chidush, by the way. But the Vav, which is Yoshua, the Yud negated it. But Hashem said to the Yud, you need to go to Yoshua. Why? By Hashem giving Yoshua the letter Yud in his name, he gave him a spiritual Brit Milah. Why? When a person comes to a Brit Milah, his Brit Milah is the letter Vav. What does the Mohel do? Yeah. He rips open the Orla, the foreskin, and he reveals what? The letter Yud. And from Hosea becomes Yehoshua. And there's a chibur of Shem Hashem and the child. That's what Hashem was telling Yeshua. Now what happened? Says the Ari HaKadosh. Something amazing. He says over there, each one of the Meraglim got an ibur nishama from one of the shvatim. Moshe prayed for Yoshua. Why did Moshe have to pray for you? How come he didn't pray for all the other ones? Says that. He was representing Shevet Levi. Why did Moshe pray that Yoshua should get the neshama? How come he didn't switch it? You had 2 over there, Menashe and Ephraim. How come he gave? You could have said Yosef went to who? The one from Shevet, Menashe, right? Your Kalev got Yehuda. The guy from Reuven got Reuven. Now Yosef was split into 2, Menashe and Ephraim. How come he gave the soul of Menashe, of Yosef, to the one from Menashe, and to Yoshua he gave his tribe, Levi? How come he didn't switch it? This is going to go back to last week's parasha of Ba'alotcha. What did Eldad and Medad say? Moshe is going to die and Yoshua is going to take them inside Eretz Israel. So he didn't want them to say, the Am Yisrael in retrospect, oh, you know why Moshe sent Yoshua? So you should fail. He should die with the Meraglim and I'm going to take them inside. So Moshe said, he was so humble, he said, I'm going to send Yoshua in there and I'm going to give him a part of me. So that way he will survive.
So he was Moshe.
He was representing Moshe, but not as Moshe himself, but as his Shevet. But Yoshua should live even though I will die. So people shouldn't say, I sent them on purpose so you should die. And that's what it means. Va'ish Moshe anav me'od. He was very humble. Now here's another crazy question in the parasha. A lot of different, I know this shiur is a bit more kav on midrashim, this, that, but I want to say another interesting pshat that I saw in the book Ben Yoyada of the Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Yoyada says something crazy. He says over there, Moshe said God should save you from the Eitzah of the Meraglim, correct? So Moshe knew what they were going to say? So why'd you send them? Why'd you send it? It's everybody's question and nobody has an answer. Nobody has an answer. The Ben Ish Chai has an answer. The Ben Ish Chai says something amazing. A great pshat. When the Meraglim went, they already had the idea to bring, not a bad idea, but the same idea. What was it? To bring back the big fruit. To show them, Am Yisrael, look who lives over here. Who lives over here? Giants. And then the giants said, what did the giants say? There's little ants walking around over here. Ants that look like humans. And what did they say? What did the Meraglim say? We were like ants in their eyes. How do you know what you looked in their eyes? What do you guys, Nevi'im over here? They were not Nevi'im. We saw Yoshua was a Navi. But Kalev wasn't. How did they know they look like ants? There's a whole pshat over here on them. But over here, they were thinking to show, and what was their idea? They had a good idea, seemingly. They were going to tell Am Yisrael, says the Ben Ish Chai in Ben Yoyada, look who lives in this land. There's giants They all live in walled cities like Yericho. We can't defeat them, but Hashem could help us. That's what they wanted to say originally. But when they came back, they changed their mind. They brought back their original idea. But this time they said Hashem cannot defeat them. Hashem cannot. Kalev knew of their idea and he told them, says the Ben Ish Chai, don't say such things. Don't try to bring the Kedusha from the Tum'ah. Start off with Kedusha. Don't be complex. Don't try to say it's so bad over there, but Hashem will help us. Start off with saying everything is good. That's why Kalev knew what was going to happen and he went to daven by who? Avraham Avinu. Why did he daven by Avraham Avinu? Says the Ari, because he was the Gilgul of who? Eliezer Eved Avraham. Eliezer Eved Avraham. But he's still missing all the letters he needs. Says the Ari HaKadosh, Eliezer, you know who he came back as? Benayahu ben Yoyada, the general of Shlomo HaMelech's army. And what does Benayahu have in his name? Bet, Nun, Yud, Hey, and Vav. What does Yehoshua have? Yud Kei Vav. Benayahu has Yud Kei Vav. Benayahu is Eliezer, who's Kalev ben Yefuneh. And who was a Kohen from Shevet? Levi. That zechut, that spark of Benayahu and Kalev, who was Eliezer, saved him from the Ma'atzat HaMeraglim. Do you understand what's going on over here? Last point over here we're going to say, and we're going to call it a night. What's this whole thing over here? We're grasshoppers. We were like grasshoppers in their eyes. So there's the pshat. I heard a simple from Elimelech Bitterman. He says, you know why they thought they looked like grasshoppers? Because they thought of themselves as grasshoppers. Whatever you think of yourself, that's what people are going to think of you. And he gives a nice mashal. There was a guy who nobody looked at him, nobody talked at him. He was invisible to the whole world. He was always depressed. One day he sees that there is a sale for hats. He goes to the store, he picks a nice hat. He wears it, he pays for it. Then he says, why should I keep my old hat and put the new hat in the box? I'm going to wear my new hat, and I'm going to throw the old hat out. He throws the old hat, he puts on the new hat, and he goes outside. Suddenly, everybody seems to notice him. Shalom Aleichem. The guy at work notices him. His wife notices him. His kids notice him. They all ask him, you seem like you're in such a good mood. What happened to you? So he starts to point to his hat. He said, what are you talking about? He said, don't you see? I have a new hat. He says, what are you talking about? It's your old hat. He forgot, instead of putting the old hat in the store, he left the new hat and he was wearing the old hat. What changed? Not the hat, but his head changed. That's what the Rav Elimelech says. Whatever it's not his chidush, it's Sfat Emet's chidush. It's not the hat. It's not what you wear. It's who you think you. It's what you think while you're wearing what you wear. But there's another chidush in the Chagavim. How come he didn't say Chagav? What's a grasshopper? Is it kosher or not kosher?
Certain species. Certain species.
Certain species are kosher. Certain species are not kosher.
For us, it's not.
Yemenites still eat grasshoppers.
For us, it's not.
They pop them in. They say it tastes like chicken. Yeah,
But
tastes like
the
chicken.
Sora to eat it.
The kosher ones?
They want grasshoppers. The kosher ones, yeah.
It's not our Masora.
It's not our Masor. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh was very against the Moroccans when they ate grasshoppers. He was very against it. He banned it in Morocco, wherever he was. In his book, he has a book on the Shulchan Aruch pre-Toar, Perot Genosar, on the pre-Chadash. He's very against grasshoppers. We Sfaradim, we're Bukharians, we never knew grasshoppers, schmasshoppers, none of that stuff. But the Torah says some species of grasshoppers are what? They're kasher. Now, grasshopper is a very interesting animal. Why? It flies. It's a bug. And you don't have to do shchita on it. You just take it, you fry it, and bon appetit. And guys, don't look at me like that. Many people, used to eat lobsters, shrimps. That's not disgusting. Because everybody eats it. Lo aleinu al am Yisrael. Shrimps are okay. You understand? Not you. I'm not saying you, chas v'shalom. I'm just saying many people that they used to this, that when they were secular.
Even if it was kosher.
You understand? But what's the secret by the grasshoppers? Why did they see themselves as grasshoppers? What did they tell Am Yisrael when they came back? What did they tell them? They said, Efes ki aza'am. 0 because the nation is great. What do they mean by 0 because the nation is great? Hashem, chas v'shalom, is 0. And those nations are stronger than Hashem. Wow. They reached such a level of kfirah, such a level of atheism, that they said Efes. Who's Efes? Chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu they were talking about. Ki az ha'am, because that nation is Az. What does that have to do with grasshoppers? The grasshopper is the one type of animal we don't eat today. It looks like the most tameh thing in the world, the most tameh. But yet, it's kosher. The grasshopper teaches us that Hashem could take the biggest tum'ah, seemingly, and say that it's really what? It's tahor, it's kasher, it's glad. You don't even have to shecht it. There's no slaughtering needed. Just take, it's an insect. If you see a grasshopper, it's an insect, it's a bug.
It's annoying. Just hearing it.
They said to Am Yisrael, not that Hashem is Efes, the Torah is Efes. Just like it's impossible, they said, how are you going to eat grasshoppers? It's a bug. It must be that we cannot defeat them. If Hashem cannot take something so tameh and turn it tahor, then it must be we cannot go into Eretz Yisrael and we cannot win. Because they're so much stronger. We're tum'ah compared to their tahara. Because if they're living in Eretz Yisrael already, what does that mean that they are? They're the Kodesh and we're the Chol. We're living in the desert over here. We're eating man. And what did Am Yisrael say last week's parasha? We're sick of the man. And why? I read in diary today, why did Hashem give them the man? Whoever eats holy food in B'Kedusha, he gets kids that are from Olam HaAtzilut. He can make children from very high level places. Hashem was giving them food, this kind of food that angels eat. So they will have children that will be worthy to go inside. But they didn't see it like that. They saw themselves as grasshoppers, as tum'ah. Because where did they come from? Their parents in Mitzrayim. They couldn't get rid of the slave mentality in their head. And that's why they stayed in the desert, dead. And Rabbi Akiva says they have no chelek la'olam haba. Rabbi Akiva in Masechet Sanhedrin, Perek Chelek, he says they have no chelek la'olam haba. Because of the Lashon Hara that they did. Hashem save us. Ma'atzat Meraglim. Ma'atzat kol ha'nechashim, akravim, v'asrafim. Hashem blesses all with bracha, v'atzlacha, yishuot, parnasa, refuah. May all the chidushim that we said tonight from the Ari and so on and so forth, may they be b'zchut the sponsors and Yun Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, and for the bracha of all the sponsors for tonight. May Hashem bless us all with bracha, v'atzlacha, yishuot, gedol, v'chen yatzum, amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer.